To start off the year, I went to a used bookstore and I got a big haul. These are some books that have been on my wish list and that I want to start 2025 with throughout the year. I really love to read. Reading has changed my life. I used to hate reading, but I learned some cool tricks that really helped me start enjoying reading. I also have ADHD, so it's hard for me to pay attention when I'm reading books sometimes. Yeah, I'm going to turn this on. I learned how to read. I like to read a lot of nonfiction. The topics that I really love to learn about is human behavior psychology, decision making, marketing, business, those types of things, because I am an entrepreneur. So I'm just constantly learning new things in those areas. And I feel like one of the most powerful things that any of us can learn is human behavior and psychology, because that is one of the core essences that really bleeds into all aspects of our lives, in our relationships, and how we do business and how we create products and services for people, and really just living a fulfilled life. Because if you understand human behavior, you understand your own human behavior, you understand your own psychology, then you're able to kind of reverse engineer those things and those unconscious aspects of the self to create the reality that you want. I also love studying economics. I also, what Naval Ravikant or Elon Musk also refers to as first principles. I love learning the first principles of how things work so that I can reason and make decisions based on a solid foundational structure of thought and ideas and build from there. You can't build skyscrapers without a proper foundation. You can't be a good dancer if you don't have a strong foundational understanding of your body. It's fractal knowledge that applies in all areas of life. So those are the things that kind of govern how I choose the titles that I read. So the first book on that note is Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. This book goes into decision-making and heuristics. In my journey of being an entrepreneur and also being in a lot of different relationships that really broke me over a period of time, I realized that I just want to make better decisions. In the past, I've made so many decisions that I feel just made me digress in a lot of ways. And I could be like, yeah, all these experiences have taught me and made me more of who I am today and have given me a lot of wisdom. But if there's a way that I can prevent bad decisions, then I want to learn it. So Daniel Kahneman, he goes into cognitive biases and heuristics, were basically mental shortcuts that we naturally rely on. So like, for example, a heuristic or a cognitive shortcut that we may do is called confirmation bias. For example, when I'm out and I'm reading these books, I'll look for confirmations of what I already believe to be true, and then I'll accept that as my immediate reality instead of actually questioning or arguing different ideas that don't align with my belief systems. It goes deeper into different heuristics like that cognitive bias. There's also hindsight bias. So that's like the idea that when something happens and plays out in a certain way, we have the tendency to be like, oh yeah, of course it happened that way. All the signs were there. When in reality, we had no way of knowing if it was going to go in that direction. It's a kind of illusionary confidence that we have that, oh yeah, I knew that it was going to happen all along, when it's not really the case. And it can cause a lot of different problems. Oh shoot, I dropped it. There's an availability heuristic. We experience our reality based on what is immediately available to us. So, for example, if we watch the news and we see a lot of negative news, then we're going to have a negative view on the world that there's a lot of bad things going on in the world because of availability bias. We see a lot of news out there that's negative where people are getting murdered and there's wars happening and stuff. But there's a lot of beautiful things that are happening in the world too. But if we spend all of our time looking at only what's available to us and we don't look outward and look further into our environment for a different perspective, then we can be victim to that bias and only see the world and our human experience through that closed view. So again, these are some of the ideas in Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. I read it online. I really like the ideas and I wanted a physical copy. The next one is Beginning of Infinity by David Deutsch. This was recommended by Naval Ravikant, and I want to get deeper into physics and science, although this book is really hard for me to read. I started reading it online, but I wanted to get the physical copy just to kind of have it. I think it's kind of like a status thing in my head and how I made that decision. But at the same time, I do want to work on this book slowly and really study the idea of epistemology, which is the origins of knowledge. All this kind of goes into the idea that I just want to learn how to make better decisions. I want to learn how to discern truth and good ideas from bad ideas. A good way to do that, I think, is from this book and how Naval has kind of framed it as a way to understand the origins of knowledge and discern what is a good explanation of something. What I'm hoping to get out of this book is to take that with me in this age of constant information, especially AI, like what is real, what is false, and form again a solid foundational base of wisdom, a solid foundational base of understanding reality, and altogether to help me make better decisions. So that's The Beginning of Infinity by David Deutsch. And I like it too because I think it synthesizes knowledge from different places. I love to read books that connect dots from different industries, from different disciplines to form a more cohesive and holistic view and understanding of reality. Because that's kind of what I do too. I have ADHD. I call it attention directed to higher dimensions, and I naturally find patterns in different areas that I'm interested in. Another word for what this is called is being a synthesizer. So I love to read authors and creators that combine knowledge from different places to form their own unique perspective on the world. And I resonate with being that myself as a creator too. So yeah, love this. I love forming wholesome, like holistic views, meaning holistic views of different ideas. Surely you're joking, Mr. Feynman. He is a Nobel Prize winning physicist that I recommend and mention a lot in what I like to talk about, with, especially with ADHD. I love his 12 favorite problems mental model that helped me turn my ADHD into my advantage or my asset in my business and just in my life. I've read a little bit of this online, but I wanted to have this in my library, Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, so I could pick it up. He also combines and synthesizes and teaches a very complex concept of physics through the lens of random things. Like he would talk about how he loved playing the bongos and he loved to dance salsa. He would take salsa and bachata classes. He would learn how to spin plates or something like that. Basically did a bunch of random things. He probably had ADHD. But his genius was in that he would find answers to very complicated physics questions by immersing himself in a lot of different random things. And so I loved his character and who he is as a teacher, as a person, that idea of drawing on deep, unique insights from seemingly unrelated things. And as a person with ADHD, that idea is very fascinating to me. So I love to study the people who have consciously done this and have achieved a lot of really cool things. So yeah, Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman. Contagious, Why Things Catch On. I've read a little bit about this. Just to learn some ideas from this in terms of being a content creator, like what makes a video go viral. And that's like one of my 12 favorite problems that I have. Just understanding like what makes people like a piece of content and what's the psychology, the economics, the behavioral understanding that goes into virality. And this book is really interesting to me for that reason. Also Traction, Get a Grip on Your Business. This was recommended to me by a lot of entrepreneurs. And what I'm hoping to get out of the book is some really actionable things to create infrastructure for a business and working with a team. Yeah, that's Traction and Scaling. Oh, by the way, these books aren't in any order. I'm just kind of going through it. It's a pile right now. Wanting, The Power of Mimetic Desire in Everyday Life, written by Luke Burgess, and it's a synthesis or a distilling of Rene Girard's theory on mimesis. I was really fascinated with this idea because as someone who's an entrepreneur and also fascinated with psychology and philosophy, I'm very curious always of how can I decode my subconscious processes? How can I make my unconscious processes more conscious so I can have more understanding of why I desire and want the things that I do, why I make certain decisions the way that I do. And the idea of mimesis is that we human beings, we copy each other. The reason for all conflict in the world and all feuds and fights is because we basically want the same things. And how the role of mimetic desire plays a part in why so many things happen in the world the way they do, especially social media. For example, like the other day I kind of had an epiphany. Our algorithm is basically a reflection of your consciousness. It's a reflection of everything that you like and give your attention to, everything that you click on, all the topics that you're interested in, everything that you take a moment to just watch a video of. The algorithm sees those patterns and it just feeds you back who you are. And it creates kind of an echo chamber of desires that aren't our own. What desires are truly yours and what desires are truly not yours. For me, I'm trying to figure out and get to the root of like, why do I want the things that I want? So again, I can make better, more conscious decisions that are in alignment more with my authenticity and who I truly am as a person, rather than like what I've seen on social media, what I've consumed from other content creators that I enjoy watching. Overall, it helps me become more aware of why I desire the things I want and really question that to get to the root of like what do I really want? You know, why am I creating content on here? Why do I even want to be an entrepreneur? Why am I building an online business? Why do I even want to be authentic? I'm like questioning a lot of those things. I think not only are our desires mimetic, but also our thought patterns mimetic. This book, so far what I've read of it, has inspired me to start learning more about philosophy because I want to learn about my thought patterns that have been mimicked from people of the past, especially the classics like Aristotle and Plato. I want to develop a spatial awareness of my consciousness and why I think the way that I do in general, because I'm basically a mix of a bunch of ideas that I've been exposed to over the course of my life. But where are the roots of those desires? So this book has introduced me to Rene Girard's philosophies and has also kind of directed the course of other learning, especially when it goes into like philosophy and psychology, to just understand myself at a deeper level. The other one is This one is called The Medici Effect, What Elephants and Epidemics Can Teach Us About Innovation by Franz Johnson. The back of it really resonated with me, but it says, why do so many world-changing insights come from people with little or no related experience? Charles Darwin was a geologist when he proposed the theory of evolution, and it was an astronomer who finally explained what happened to the dinosaurs. Franz Johnson's Medici Effect shows us how breakthrough ideas occur, or most often occur, when we bring concepts from one field into a new unfamiliar territory, and offers examples of how we can turn the ideas we discover into path-breaking innovations. So again, this kind of goes more into the idea and the science of combinatorial creativity and taking things and lessons learned from different domains and connecting those dots to form new, unique insights to solve problems in different ways. And I think this is one of the most valuable natural inclinations that people with ADHD have. I think the evolution of ADHD is the idea of synthesis, of being able to turn and create systems to turn our natural interests into unique insights that can solve different problems in the world. And so I'm reading up on the Medici Effect to learn more about how I can articulate that idea better. It's empowering me in so many different ways, just my natural learning processes and my natural creativity as a person with attention directed to higher dimensions. So that's the Medici Effect. My camera's getting so dark. Can I brighten myself? There we go. Okay, we're brighter. Sorry about that. Expert Secrets. I already have this book. It's a good book. I wanted to get it more as a gift for a friend. I don't know which friend, but I want to give this as a gift. But anyway, I just rambled about some books. Thank you for the 50 subscribers, and I'm really excited to just making content and sharing stuff that I like, because I've seen so much in the past how it's helped other people, so I want to just keep that wave going into 2025. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments, what are you guys reading for 2025? What are your interests? What are your curiosities? What are some things that you like to read? And it doesn't have to be nonfiction. I love reading nonfiction, but if you have any fiction book recommendations that you think I would like, or I don't know, anything, I'm always open to hear other people's perspectives and what's working for other people. Yeah, I love you guys like I love myself, and I'll see you in the next one, whatever that is.